Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're excited about our newest machine release, adding a little bit more to our line, making us all a little bit more dangerous in regards to the scope of things that we can offer for our customers in our Formax FD87 SSD. Solid state destruction for those laptop hard drives and CDs, USBs. We'll get into that. My name is Patrick Manning. I'm an account executive here at Formax. We're here to another live webinar about an hour north of Boston in Dover, New Hampshire. We appreciate you tuning in to understand a little bit more about what you can leverage out of having Formax as a supplier and manufacturer of equipment for you all. If you're taking a look at this, you want some of your other reps to take note of it, there will be a recording of this as well. So that way you can have it. Feel free to send it along. Feel free to throw some questions in the chat box. We'll have a couple of ones that were people frequently asked questions at the end that will kind of hit between the eyes, make sure that we all understand that. But let's jump right in. Today we're here to talk about the Formax FD87 SSD multimedia shredder. So we're going to talk a little bit about what this machine does. Then we'll talk a little bit about who's buying this, right? That's probably one of the most important reasons that we're on right now. Who do I target with this? Who do I mention this to? We'll talk a little bit about doing a demo of the machine, go show the ins, the outs, some of the things that are lesser known than what you can get from a spec sheet. We'll talk about why. Why bother? Why have a machine do this when there are services out there that will take care of it for you? Weigh some of the options there. We'll discuss a little bit about other multimedia devices like our hard drive shredder itself. We'll discuss a little bit about why Formax. Why go with Formax for this type of solution? What else is out there? How's it going to stand up? How's it going to compare? And then we'll get into why Formax as a supplier of equipment, because right now this makes almost 30 different shredder models that we have and counting. There's a lot out there you can be really, really effective with your customer by showing them additional solutions, taking an extra step farther, and creating unique solutions for their workflows. So, the what? What does this machine do? So this takes old laptop hard drives that you have here, right, and it shreds them to bits, right? You're going to want to do that because there's a lot of overhaul with these when they need to get technology in and out. How do you get rid of old data? That's going to be incredibly important. You can, there are degaussers, there's disintegrators, there's a bunch of different options that are out there. Shredding it and getting it to a complete, small, tiny bits of material in your hand is the way to know that that data integrity is completely secured, it's completely destroyed, so there's no leaks that come out from that. In addition, this does CDs. So who's using CDs now? And you believe it or not, particularly in the government landscape, they're storing a ton of information on CDs and DVDs. And the reason is that it can't be overwritten after. So if you think back to, well, at least me, when I was a kid and I was burning CDs all the time, making playlists and such, at the end, you finalize your disc. That's the last process of it. In doing so, you're unable to edit it from there. That's it. Once you finalize that disc, you can't add anything or edit anything to it. So when you have governmental entities where they really can't have anybody adjusting any of the information that they're storing on it, that's why CDs are something that they use to store the data. But more importantly, how do you get rid of it? How do you get rid of this data? There's a few different high security options that we do offer, like in our FD8732, which will turn it essentially into dust. But this machine works as a multimedia device shredder for data destruction. That includes CDs and DVDs. I'm looking at some old dog tags right here for some military things that need to get rid of. You have some USBs you need to be able to throw away. This is the most common one. Everyone stores stuff on these thumb drives all the time. When you need to replace them or you need to get rid of a bunch of them, how are you getting rid of them? Make sure that they're destroyed to bits. Make sure you can do it on site yourself with the peace of mind, knowing that you actually destroy them. And then the other common one is your cell phones. When we replace all of our cell phones, very frequently, those probably get updated more than laptops. It's not close either. So what you want to do is you want to take this out, take the battery out of it, and then destroy the cell phone. So that can be a lot that's out there. So this also even has the capacity to do mini iPads, because this has an infeed that's going across about 6 inches wide or so it can do some of the wider media as well. So that's what this does. It takes all of these devices that are out there where there's sensitive information stored, where the physical destruction needs to occur. That's what can happen here. Now, who's doing this? And really enough people to justify us right here with me giving a whole product release, engineering, marketing, and making it available where it's justified. There's a lot of people asking for this type of equipment that they need to bring it in-house. So tangibly, you can think of IT companies, probably the first one, lowest hanging fruit. What do they do all day? A huge part of what their business is data integrity, data and security. So what happens when IT companies have to overhaul a whole bunch of laptops that are in a huge workplace? They got to get rid of the old laptops, in turn a lot of the old hard drives. So they're going to take all these hard drives, and how do they prove to their customer that all of their old equipment that had all of this financially sensitive data on it was destroyed? They can do it. They can do this as a source of fulfillment for their customers. And while on the subject of fulfillment, think about certain like print shops that are in some common areas. Think about even copier dealers or someone who want to basically provide this as an additional service to their customers. They can come on in, they can charge a certain amount per device or per what they're looking to do. Customers in the door, and while the customer is sitting there and they see you shredding all of them, that's time that you can get with that customer to mention some of your other solutions. Take an example. Formax recently did like shred days is what we called it. Our local partners were able to come in. They were able to come on in and bring their multimedia devices, whether it's their SSDs from their laptops, whether it's some of their hard drives from their PCs, more substantial pieces of components that I'll get into in a bit. Some even with just boxes of documents that they just wanted to throw on our giant industrial conveyor shredder and let it eat. That was a way for us to say thank you for being great partners of ours, coming on in. They thought it was great, and oh, by the way, they're in the building, so we can mention all of our other solutions, and it's great FaceTime. So maybe even just getting people in the door, creating this unique solution is something that people do offer, and it's true, because they're asking for it. That's why we're bringing this up. You can think about financial companies. Financial companies, that's probably about as sensitive as it gets for data integrity. What are they going to do when they need to overhaul and update a whole bunch of laptops? What are they going to do with all that client information that's on these disks here? They got to get rid of it. So you want to be able to do that on site with the peace of mind and security that you're doing it. You're managing it with your own unit right then and there. Even right now, manning the cameras over here is Travis, my account manager. He used to work at an insurance company, and what they would do is every time they overhauled a lot of their multimedia, they would put it in a room under lock and key, and then it would just keep building up and keep building up. So it's just sitting in there, just waiting for someone to break in and take all of it. It's absurd. Shred it to bits, get rid of it. They could have made a lot of use out of having their own in-house solution. So really, when it comes to when people talk about the verticals for this, it's as much as you can really provide for as a means of fulfillment, maybe charging people for that, maybe having your own on-site solution to take care of it. Maybe you're a copier dealer who has a customer who owns a bunch of MFPs and they have SSDs that are in those MFPs. They want to swap out new equipment. How can you show them value and say, hey, look, don't worry about your SSD. Here, look, I'm going to shred this for you. Gone to bits. What a peace of mind. So who's buying this? A lot of people in a lot of different environments. So the best thing that you can do, in addition for even this, or even if you see like a paper shred bin, ask your customers, what are you shredding? How much are you spending a month on being able to get rid of that? And then bring some of these solutions to life. All right? So that's a little bit about what this does. That's who it does, but why? Why are people going to bother having their own on-site shredder when there's a service out there to do it? I just want someone else to take care of it. Well, money's probably the biggest one. Think about that. Try looking up how much it costs to shred multimedia devices. You're going to get a range of like $15 to $40. And it's all over the place because it all depends on where you're at, how many devices you need to get rid of, what kind of devices you need to get rid of. Do you want that done off-site? Do you want that done on-site? Do you need a recording of it? Is it more labor intensive where you got to go through phones and take out the battery? Is that going to add a premium to them destroying these things? So there's a few factors that come into play here. Now, if you want someone to come on site, so you can say, All right, well, I understand the security aspect of this, wanting to be able to see that this hard drive actually was destroyed. When they come on site and they do it there for you and you can see it destroyed, that's probably going to add a little bit of the premium to it because they got to drive there. What are they going to do with escalating fuel costs, whatever? And a lot of this sort of fulfillment, these shred services, applies to paper too. And why we mention paper shredders that we have here that last 10 plus years with responsible use, because on-site demand, on-site security for it, definitely going to pay for itself well over time. So that's just a few reasons of why you don't want to rely on another service, another guy coming into your facility to take things, another account that you need to expense for, unscheduled pickups, whatever. Just get rid of it. Have your own machine to be able to manage it. So that's why we're coming out with this product. Now, let's learn about a few things. Let's shred some stuff, all right? So FD87 SSD. This is a great machine. And the first thing that I'll catch, oh, you see, catch, Freudian slip, but the first thing that I'll mention is the all-metal cabinets. So all-metal cabinets are incredibly important because these machines all have casters. If you're going to move these around from one location to the next, they're big machines. These machines weigh well over 200 pounds. If these are screwed into particle board construction, like a lot of our competitors, and this same goes for our paper shredders as well, that peg where the caster is screwed into, that can break right off in the particle board, and it does often, and then boom, down goes the shredder. So while it seems like one of these very silly things that you won't really account for, that is a very real thing. When casters are screwed into sheet metal, it just makes it a lot more substantial. Torque-driven motor that's in here, and torque-driven meaning very important, because when it's torque-driven, for those mechanical people out there, torque means how fast it basically goes. When you hit it, that's the torque. So if there's a rated feet per minute of when this cutting head needs to make its revolutions, it's immediate. Right when you put something in, boom, it's going at that exact speed. Same goes for our paper shredders, torque-driven motors in those as well. If you are running off of a horsepower-driven motor that a lot of our competitors will do, horsepower has to rev itself up. So if it's not already at its rated speed, it needs to kind of slowly rev itself up. So that can have a propensity to create more jams if you put too many things in at one time. So this has all metal gears and drive chains that are in that too, because the last point I just brought up was talking about machine not being fast enough and have a jam. What's great about this machine is if you have a sturdier piece of multimedia that goes into it, and it doesn't exactly get all of it as the machine's crunching that, what happens is the machine will stop. But when it stops, no plastic or nylon gears are going to break when it stops because these are made of metal. The metal hits metal, it stops, and this machine knows to go in reverse. So what's great about it is this unit will come on in, and it'll shred bits of it, and once it gets to be a little bit too much, it'll stop, it'll reverse, it'll come back out, and then it'll do a little bit more. Then it'll come back out and it'll do a little bit more until it's gone. So that's what's great about this machine. You're throwing things in there and the machine stops, reverse, in order to get something that it doesn't just cleanly go through in one shot at one time. So a lot of great features with that. Now, the other thing too is waste. So the waste bin here is easy to access and easy to take a look. Travis, I'm going to grab this handheld over here, okay? So what we'll do, so when you're taking a look at this and you need to replace your shred bin, here is all your shredded materials. We just threw a flashlight in there, so in a little bit we can kind of show you the teeth. But this is what this creates. All of those hard drives, those phones, those CDs, everything. It creates these tiny, tiny particle sizes. That is unreadable. Nothing is going to be able to read that. And it's easy to access. It's easy to replace. In, out, and you're done. Go back. The other great thing about this, you got 3 dedicated in-feeds to this. So you have one that's a real big one. So this one can open on up, and then you'll hear a noise. That beep, beep, beep lets the machine know that, hey, don't run the machine. This is a big opening here. I can easily drop my tie right in here, leaning over for something and have that eat it up. You don't want that to happen. But if you have some sort of multimedia device, like I mentioned, small tablets, that's potentially this wide, it has the ability to drop right in and go. That's great. Or if you just wanted to throw phones in a la carte, you could. It's right there, easy to go. Now, if you want the machine to do continuous operation with everything, you could. This is a dedicated slot for CDs right there. So as this thing goes, you can just drop it in and you can hear the machine continuously rock. The other thing that's there, you can also do it in this slot. So if you have this slot, you hear the machine going. I could drop in another one, open, close, and the machine continues to go. The only one that'll stop it is that one. Obviously, because it's a bigger area, just to make it more safe. What I'll show you here too is the teeth. You can kind of see with the light in the bottom and the waste bin, just showing what's actually happening. Those are the guts of the equipment ripping everything to shreds. All right. So now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna let the thing run, destroy some stuff. That's why we're here. So
hey Pat,
we'll start this up.
when you tip that, when you're running it, tip the camera forward.
Sure. So we'll take this up right here. We'll start this up. Throw a phone in. Now you'll notice that two components in there are wedged right against. So when you try to run it, it's going to take a second to be able to get rid of it. But it's stopped and it reverses, and that's exactly what it's doing now, and it's shredded all the way through. So that's going to be a great thing to be able to accomplish with this machine. And again, while we're here, that's still shredding up that phone, you can drop your CD in. You can stop it. You can drop a USB drive in there. Drop two if you want. You close it up, start it up. Then you hear it eating it up. All the pieces are there. Anything that comes off, it is. Right here, if you wanted to go into it, you take your solid slate drive, you can drop that in. It closes. And it just completely ate all that up. You could keep going as it's running, throw some dog tags in, throw another CD in, whatever the case is. And then all it's doing is just totally destroying that media. Good. Cool, so we just destroyed a few things in a matter of seconds. So there's a bunch of different stuff. What I really liked was actually that the phone went in there and you notice the machine stopped, and that's exactly what I was talking about. So once it gets in there, you don't have to worry about breaking or running anything with the unit because it stops, it recognizes, okay, there's thicker components that are in there, but it's also all metal gears and all metal teeth that are driving this too. So it stops, reverses, moves, it shifts some stuff around in turn, keeps going, stops maybe one more time, and it kept doing it in order to get through everything. So real durable equipment. We were just managing to shred a bunch of that stuff in one shot right there. Now, a lot of people are going to ask, well, Patrick, that's great. I really, really like this equipment. What else is out there? What else am I going to find in regards to on-site solutions? And pretty much the disintegrator is one option. It's this giant machine that requires 220-volt power, and it's incredibly expensive. So that's an option that a lot of people will go with if you have the correct environment for it. And it's going to be loud, it's going to be big, it's going to be expensive. You're going to have special power considerations behind it. So that's not really a great option. The other thing you're going to see for something like this, a unit very similar, is the Flash X. Now with the Flash X, this thing's going to beat it out for a number of different reasons. First is how it works. The Flash X has 2 in feeds. This has 3. So we have one that opens up, one for CDs, and another one for phones, SDs, whatever can fit down that slot. Second is noise. You're thinking about putting these in different work environments. Say it's over here. I'm having to make calls over there, but that's the only spot for it. It's if this is going to be a little less loud than the Flash X, every little bit helps. Now, the third one is definitely going to be the most important one, and that's going to be price. This is going to be conservatively $2K less than what the Flash X is out there. So this is a good cost advantage in a number of different ways. First, with the MSRP being $7,995, that's going to be a lot less expensive than what the Flash X does. Second, that factory list price of $7,995 equals the MAP. It equals the minimum advertised pricing policy. That means that the lowest price that this can be found on the internet for is going to match the factory list. So that way, there's some dealer protection behind this to make some more money. In addition, for those of you who have seen the new price book with this on it, you'll observe that there's a little bit of a bigger discount of this machine over a lot of the other machines. So another even greater reason to bring this up. A little bit more better margin that's going to come from that. So what you're doing is you're putting yourself in a position to compete against the Flash X, which is really the only like-for-like thing that's out there. And it's going to be a lot less expensive. You're going to make a lot more margin off the deal. It's going to be quieter. There's going to be 3 in-feeds. And then lastly, the holistic one source for everything. This way, if customers do ask for this, or you do a good job by going up and asking your customers, what are you destroying? How much is it costing you? And you bring these solutions to life, you come to a single source for everything with almost 30 different shredder models and counting. So then that goes along with our cutters and our folders and envelope printers, a whole bunch of other stuff that you have access to. Keep it simple through one vendor rather than having to farm out what otherwise may seem like a niche product from anybody else. Another thing people ask me a lot too is with the laptop, what's the difference between the laptop hard drives and the PC hard drives? And you can see the difference right here. PC hard drives have a lot more substantial components in them. So these are not going to be appropriate for this machine. Not only because they won't fit, the in-feeds are only so big in here, which helps, so that way you don't put anything too much in there that's going to otherwise not be appropriate for it. But since these hard drives that are on PCs have a lot more substantial components to them, you're going to need a machine that has a substantial amount of power to be able to get rid of it. So we have 3. One is a hard drive punch. Basic shredder, not too big, just drives a hole right through the hard drive itself. The second is our 87 HDS. That's this machine, just minus the camera equipment. And then we have this one, which is the 87 HDS-R. So it shreds these hard drives and has a camera that's pointing at you, the 2 in-feeds, and the waste bin, stored on an SD card, so that way they can show fulfillment. Now, why one over the other? Well, not only is this a bigger piece of equipment, this thing weighs about 1,000 pounds too. It's really designed for your PC hard drives, but also it's going to require a lot more power. So this is going to require a 220 volt system to be able to give enough amperage and enough power to be able to actually destroy these more substantive hard drives that go in PCs. But when it comes to your laptop PCs and your phones and your thumb drives and your CDs, you can do it on this machine, smaller footprint, easier to move around. Oh, and by the way, 120 volt power. So standard power on this machine in order to shred all this. But when you're working with a lot more thicker hard drives that are out there, like PC ones, you're going to need a bigger machine in order to do it. But it doesn't just stop there. I'm just talking about, different sorts of multimedia. But we offer a lot of different solutions, even when it comes to the paper side of things. This is a paper shredder, but also serves as one that can shred plastics, X-rays, and laminated sheets. So what would otherwise be stuck, if I took this laminated sheet here and put it through a regular crosscut shredder, what would happen is it would kind of gum up the inside of that cutting head as it goes there. It has a high propensity to do so and could very well. So this has stacked cutting heads that enable it to be able to do that. So when you think of things like X-rays and you're thinking about these medical environments out there that cannot have patient-sensitive data laying around if they have a full shred bin. They have to have something on site to be able to take care of it. So this shredder, amongst almost 30 that we have, is specifically designed for like laminated sheets. So this is one that we laminated using our flash card. We come on over, we take this, we drop it in, and then it's going to go through and it's going to be shredded, no problem. And I don't have to worry about any sort of weird plastics that are in this gumming up the cutting head because it's specifically designed to do so. So I'm not saying that you need to go out and ask every single one of your customers, how are you destroying your laptops, your hard drives, and your plastic sheets? What I'm asking you to do is just kind of think a little bit further because people are buying this equipment. What otherwise seems like niche products don't get brought to the customer's attention unless you do it. And it's only going to separate you from everyone else out there as you're thinking about this before they just go reactively and buy it from somebody else that they potentially have no relationship with. So go to your customers. Ask them not only what they're shredding for their basic documents, ask them what their data destruction needs are. Ask them what do they need to actually get rid of for multimedia, or even it's a casino. We have a casino shredder that looks similar to this that shreds chips, cards, and die. So we have such a comprehensive data destruction solution. Ask them what they're shredding and how much a month they're paying for it. Contact your account rep, let them know those numbers, and we'll give you some models of best fit, and we'll give you a lot of tools to keep the opportunity moving in one direction. Whether it's giving you charts to let you know when that return on investment can be, all the way up for even doing live web demos, what you're seeing now, me, right now, available for you and your customer in front of any of this equipment if you ever need to. So that's about it. We really do appreciate you guys taking some time to understand some of these products, leveraging our line, learning more about this new machine release. Stay tuned for a few others that are going to continually come out throughout this year. And at this point, Travis, what do we have for any sort of questions right there, or anything else that you got from the last webinar we did this morning?
No, I think the couple of the frequently asked questions we usually get about this machine. One, if you could talk a little bit about how it's shipped and what the expenses would be for your dealers.
Oh yeah, sure. So real common question too, can this go like right to the customer? So I just said that this is over a 200-pound machine. So when we ship it, we got to have this thing strapped to a pallet, right? So it's going to be a substantial machine. What's good is, even with the price that I gave, that you guys have now, that includes dock-to-dock shipping. So standard freight. So bear in mind though, if this goes right to a customer and they don't have a loading dock or a forklift, to get this off the end of the truck, then they'll need a lift gate. Lift gate's simple, just add 125 to that PO, and then at least the machine will be brought down the ground level so your customers can dolly it into wherever they need to. That's pretty much the most that you want to do. If there are any other shipping considerations that need to be taken into account, just contact your account rep at Formax here. We'll walk you through, make sure it's on the same page. But in short, freight is included. The biggest part about how to get this to your customer, it's included into the price there.
Next one was just confirming it is standard power.
Yeah, that's a big one. So that's what's really great about this machine, is that the nature of this just plugging into, your standard outlet, what you're looking at right here. So having that ability makes it pretty flexible, because whereas otherwise you have this hard drive shredder for PCs, right, you'll need a dedicated power source. It takes a little bit more in order to operate it. The thing's also over 1,000 pounds. So you're going to need, this is going to be appropriate in some environments rather than others. Whereas this is a great solution because it just goes into standard power. And again, you see me rolling around, no problem, because the casters are screwed into sheet metal. So that makes it a lot better solution for a lot more environments.
I think that's all we got.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
All right. No hard ones? Will this work in orbit and space or anything? No? All right. Well, stay tuned. I'll get that on my way back. Hey, guys, thank you very much for taking some time. We really, really appreciate our partnership. And the more time that you put into understanding these solutions that we have, that people are buying, the more it's just going to become a core product for you. And whether it may not be your core product, whether it's ancillary, whether it's add-on, you got to mention these solutions to your customers. Set yourself apart, get out there and offer a complete solution for them. Thank you for being a great partner of ours and taking some time. Have a great rest of your week, everybody.